Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for Mobile Suit Double Zeta Gundam. We've entered space, and we're on our way to Levian Rose, but we had a quick pit stop, or a few obstacles maybe, last episode in the form of Mashimir, and Glemmy Toto, and asteroids, and dummies, and exploding Gaza Sea squadrons, and actually a whole insane amount of stuff. This seems to happen every episode of Double Zeta. It's like, you watch the episode, and it all just like happens. You come out of it, and I analyze what I can. And then over the course of the week, I keep having these moments where I'm like, oh shit, that was also in the episode. Oh yeah, that happened in the episode too. Oh man, that happened too. And the whole thing is like, oh, it's so packed and dense. It's like you look at a chocolate cake and you go, cake. One thing. Simple, easy label, it's cake. No problem. And then you take a bite of the cake and it's like dense ganache and creamy filling and like layered crumb or whatever the fuck, and like coconut on the outside. It's got all these things that you didn't expect to be in the cake. The whole experience of it is so insane and like much all at once and so rich and dense that it all is one like whoa sort of thing at the as you take the bite of it and you swallow and you sort of come out of that and you go, that was cake. You don't even have the words for it. You're like, that was a thing. It was really cool. A lot of density. Chocolate. And that's all I come out of it with. Is like, wow, very chocolate. Oh boy. And then a week later, I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, wow, I really wonder how they got the ganache and the actual cake crumb to line up texturally in that sort of a way. The way that those were juxtaposed, it's got this like creamy consistency and this cakey consistency that go together. And all these ideas, like the amount of density of stuff in there becomes more and more apparent the more that I think about it. Like Glemmy Toto shows up and is just here. And he's goofy as fuck. And he's enamored with girl. And so simple. And so straightforward. And yet you start to think about what Glemmy Toto's existence means. What is he? He's a naive soldier. He's been in a location, in a society that puts this soldiering thing up on high as grand and heroic, and he buys in completely, and so do the rest of the Gaza Sea members, going out and dying honorably for their beliefs, and for the ones in power, and for their great queen. And yet we see them at the same time, and we see our boy Judo flying around, be like, haha, they exploded, exploded, totally exploded there, dude. They don't die nobly or in the pursuit of justice. They're chasing down sewer rats and exploding because they accidentally hit dummy asteroids that aren't dummy asteroids and actually explode their mechs. That's not goofy or comedic. And it's also, well, it is goofy and comedic. It's not heroic or, like, worthwhile. And that's the mindset, and Glemmy Toto is our window into that mindset. And he's just a fucking kid. And all of these layers have to be unpacked by us. And once you start unpacking those layers, the show changes a little bit. Unfortunately, though, the next time that I come back to the thing, I'm gonna go, okay. I'm gonna really analyze all the layers here. I'm really gonna figure out this cake. That's cake. That's really good cake. That's really good cake. I don't know what the fuck's in it. I'll tell you in a week. I'll tell you in a week. This happens every time. The fuck is the point of even talking about it immediately after? I'll tell you what it is. It's still really interesting, and there's still so much to unpack then. But we get the glorious thing where we can come back the next week, and we can talk about all the things that have been unpacked. And I have the wonderful position of being able to exploit my audience. Because my audience does some of the analysis stuff for me. And so that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to exploit my audience by reading some comments and talking about them. Because there were some damn good ones. It feels like this episode really got to some people. And so I'm just going to read. There are like 3. They're all amongst the top comments of the on this episode. I want to read through them. So the first one comes from a Scarlet Dragon Slayer, who has a profile picture that I think is from the Witch from Mercury. Not sure. This episode was a great example of 2 things I love about ZZ. how charmingly naive and incompetent Mashimir's crew is, and how much more lively the crew feels. Yeah, charmingly naive and incompetent. Until they explode, and then, like, tragic. Oh. And how much more lively the crew feels. In the last 2 series, we didn't really see much of the crew outside the main characters. The most prominent side character would have been Nepali, but apart from that, or maybe Astanaji. Both of them are given solid names. But apart from that, they rarely interacted with side or background characters outside of combat. Hell, Astanaji, Saigusa, and Torres were all in Zeta. I knew Astanaji, but the rest no. And I didn't even know who they were until ZZ. We have this new dynamic where the old crew gets annoyed at this new bunch of shitty kids, and the shitty kids get annoyed at the responsibilities they now have. It gets you interested to see how this dynamic might change throughout the series. Will the crew grow to like these shitty kids? Will Judo fully accept the responsibility of being a pilot? Will Mondo and Beaches stop being selfish? Will Ino start standing up for himself? We'll just have to wait and see. It's also funny how bad Bright is at dealing with kids, considering he's a father. I don't think that's funny at all. He is an absentee father. Whether he would be good with the kids or not, he actually hasn't had the practice. In practice, because he's been piloting in a war. Or post-war, right? He hasn't had the opportunity as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe as they were babies, but... yeah. Rarely interacted with side and background characters? Yep. Pretty true. Characters who piloted other mechas, like Hayato was there, but he got more development in Zeta, I think, than he did in 79. In a lot of ways. He was just sort of there. A lot of those characters are just sort of there and filling a role. We need somebody organizing the deck, and so this character is doing that, and he's there, and he doesn't do much. He just is there, and maybe comes into play when it's important, but otherwise not so much. Now, they really do feel all active, and it does feel like a living, breathing environment with all the characters coming into play. They're not just there, they're a part of everything, and they're a community. They know each other, and they've been through shit together, and so you get that dynamic of, like, the squad. They are the squad already, right? Welcome to oh shit. I just watched Starship Troopers the other day. So before it's Rico's Raiders, which is what it ends up being because the main character ends up like running the squad and taking the role of his previous staffy. It was some other dude with an R for a name, Raiders, right? And so he comes in and he's the newbie in the squad, and they're like, "Welcome to Rolly's Rangers and Raiders or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I'm the new kid." And then it all flips over, and he's the old hat guy, and his squad are the old like, "Yeah, welcome to the Raiders, Rico's Raiders," and they do the same thing over again, and that's part of the whole idea that Verhoeven has put into that film. Fantastic film, by the way. Holds up so well. Starship Troopers holds up so fucking well. It's crazy. Truly amazing. But that same idea, you've got this old hat squad, and they've got their way of doing things, and you've got these new kids coming in, and they bring in new blood and new flavor and new ideas and creativity and all that stuff, but God, they're fucking annoying. And that's the generation gap. That's every generation gap every time. Every generation is the same idea. We have our way of doing things and it works. Holy shit, these new kids are so useful. They're so talented. They can pilot the mechas like you wouldn't believe. God. And have you seen them program the programs and they with their little screen things and the magic glasses? I don't know how any of it works. Oh, goodness, technology. I don't know. But they're so useful. You know, I hire one high school student and he does 1,000 hours worth of work in a day because he knows how this Chat GPT thing works. Seriously, it's exactly like that. The next generation are new types. They just are. Functionally. In terms of power and capacity and stuff, super true. My generation is totally new type compared to the generation before mine. They don't have a fucking clue. There are a few of them that can pilot mechas, sort of like Char, in that they can get on a computer and move the mouse around effectively. But the level of difference is astronomical, exponential. It's exponential. You know, she means extraordinarily well, but my aunt will send me like research articles for things that I'm interested in. She'll send me like a New York Times article. I told her I'm looking at scooters, electric scooters. She was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Sent me a research article. And I look at the article and I think, "Holy shit." To her, going and finding this research article was like, that was an act of service that took her some time and effort. And it is not so for me. I skim through 100 of those in an hour and incorporate all the information. grab all the best YouTube videos, watch those in the background while I'm reading other things. I've got 2 screens rolling through with info at all times. I can understand the entire scooter market in a few hours. And she's like, do they explode still? And the answer is like, yeah, kind of. But that's not important. What's amazing is the total difference. And then the same is true if I give that same task to a 20-year-old today, who's 10 years younger than I am, which is not a generation gap, but still, technologically it's a generation gap. They're going to find a totally different slew of information, more condensed in some sense than mine. They're like a new type to me, and I'm like a new type to the one before. And there's that, damn, these shitty kids aren't doing things the way that I wanted them to, sort of thing, you know? Huh. So, yeah, I like it. There is this built-in tension generationally in Gundam, and it's been there from the beginning, but I really feel it here in Double Zeta, and it's because of who Judo is. It's because these characters are really different, and they hit that note of rebelliousness that's more a sign of the times and seems more fitting to me, and it seems to work better. It works really, really great. Previously, Amuro was wrestling with, like, do I become a part of this society? Do I pilot the mecha, etc.? And Kamiyu kind of was too. How do I integrate my own, like, honestly, self-centered and self-focused opinions of the world with this need to do other things and all of this stuff? And now we've got this totally separate viewpoint from the older folks and the younger folks, and they're completely different, and they've come from completely different backgrounds, and I think we do a really good job of setting a lot up. Angel James writes, uh-oh, I'm forgetting the destiny I decided to bear. Glemmy Toto. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that line yet. It's really interesting, and I wonder if Glemmy is going to be our kind of foil, because he seems like he's going to be our kind of foil. While Mashimir is like an anti-Char in some way, Glemmy Toto is like a reverse Jared in some way. He just seems like a nice guy who's into the same girl as you and kind of would be on the other side if he were on the other side. But instead, he's been indoctrinated into the worldview of the people on the Mashimir side, and he's on it completely. Super interesting. The scene of the Gaza Seas plowing through the dummies only to be destroyed by real asteroids is a really evocative scene. It's both brutal and comedic. I think so, too. It's really quite stunning. It's quite stunning. I have rarely seen things that take me like that. It's like you see a race in a film, and there are a bunch of characters doing a bunch of stuff, and they're like exploding each other's cars, and you suddenly realize, like, this is a death race. This is legit. This is not fucking fun. And all the other characters are still like, and you just go, oh no. It's got the same vibe as, like, everybody's playing Mario Kart, and then when the shells hit or the bananas happen, like, a full car crash happens. It's like an F1 like an F1 car crash. It's just like people are mangled and body parts are flying, and you're like, ha-ha, ho-ho, I'm driving, ha-ha. It's like, whoa, what the fuck, Mario? What the fuck? You just murdered that man. Wow. And that's exactly the same thing. You've got anime character Judo who's just like, wee, fly to Mecca, no problem. And I go, oh shit, those are dead. And he goes, you see that shit? Those fucking people are dead. Those are humans. They're dead. Ha ha ha. Judo. Judo, you're a psychopath. Amazing. This also shows off the rather unfortunate way that the 360-degree screen of mobile suits work. If anyone's ever played an FPS Gundam game where your POV is from inside the cockpit nose, it's very distracting to see your own gun floating above you. How it works is there are cameras all over the mobile suit. The images from them are combined into a computer-generated image that removes all traces of your own mobile suit. It also means that everything that appears in the screen is actually simulated. So if an item is the size of a mobile suit, the general shape and color, and is made of metal, the screen will probably interpret that what is in front of you is a mobile suit, when in actuality it is a dummy coated in a thin layer of metal. The same with ships and asteroids. So in reality, you're not seeing reality. You're seeing a useful close approximation. and useful gets to be defined by the system programmers, and that's a problem, because that's a problem in today's day and age with powerful image recognition systems and AI and all that jazz. Holy shit. Without any of that stuff, hey, it's a little ball of metal. It seems like a horo. Hey, it's a little shaped thing. That seems like a mecha. Oh my god. It's not reality. Now, what I find so funny here, kind of, is it Hoffman? Daniel Hoffman? David Hoffman? You don't experience reality, Hoffman. I think it's Hoffman. Donald Hoffman, that guy. Yeah, it's Donald Hoffman. So this guy, has, his name is Donald Hoffman. He's got a lot of degrees in something. Professor of cognitive science. There you go. He believes that the world is literally nothing like what we experience. Like, this is not a physical object made of things in the way that I think that it is. And in fact, he'd say that it fundamentally can't be, that I'm interacting with something that's, he doesn't know what it is, but it's definitely not what I think it is, because the way that our brain works is, our brain is inside your skull, and it's not attached to the outside in any meaningful way. There's one exception to that, actually, which is that your eyes are brain matter that are extruded through your eye sockets. So that, I would say, actually is a direct interface between you and the outside world. But still, it's true, your neurons do not see the outside. Very much like a pilot inside a mecha with only screens around them and no actual direct interpretation from the outside world feels inside the thing. In fact, it's even really robust as an analogy, because there are Minovsky particles that prevent the person inside from communicating directly to other people outside, even though they would be able to otherwise, right? So you can't just comms communicate to somebody in another mecha, in the same way that I can't just sit here and go and make another person think what I'm thinking. I can't comms to you. So I can't communicate from inside my box, my pilot chair, to your pilot chair, because I'm locked in there. I'm actually not me. This whole thing that I'm in the center of, is all a mecha. And there's a little ball of goop on the inside that's me, right? Presumably. And that thing can't see outside, and the outside can't get into that thing at all. Totally enclosed, air-gapped, can't get air in or out, can't get toxins in or out. There's a literal blood-brain barrier. You can't get anything in or out unless it can cross that barrier. And as far as information goes, you can't get information in or out. Not without filtering it, not without altering it and interpreting it and going through a cognitive interpretive layer that actually inevitably transfers it from what it is to something that is analogous to a useful experience. That is not what it is. Cannot be what it is not even actually analogous to what it is, isn't even one-to-one relatable to what it is in fact utterly distinctly different from what it is, and yet somehow entangled with what it is in a way that makes it useful as an understanding of what is. Fuck you, Donald Hoffman. I hate this shit. I don't actually believe him. I think he's fundamentally wrong, and I think reality does exist, but it's a great and interesting theory. I love the ability to just, like, this is a cool theory, and I don't believe in it. This is another cool theory, and I don't believe in that either. I can look at all of them and evaluate them and not believe any of them, and it's totally okay. I have such a hard time with this. I find it so easy. It's so much fun. Regardless, I see that as very analogous to this idea that you have to rely entirely on your pattern recognition and meaning assignment layers. That everything about the way that you interpret the world, you, the goop on the inside of the skull, interpret the things outside the mecha, and the mecha itself, is false, and has to be passed through an interpretive layer of meaning. So then comes the bigger question, what do the things around you mean? They mean different things depending on what you know about them, right? If I didn't know what a mechanical pencil was, this wouldn't mean anything to me. It would be a metal stick. If I didn't know what refined metal was, this would be a magic wand. If I didn't know anything about anything, I wouldn't know what the fuck this is. I wouldn't know that I could pick it up. And I'd have no indication that I might want to hold it, or that it might be designed particularly to fit my biology, because it is. It was designed to fit me mechanically and be held in my hand and be exceptionally ergonomic. Or say, one of these. The fuck is this? It looks like an eye poker to me. I don't know. A tool that I would hold in my hand? Why? I have to interpret it. I have to actually have meanings there. And so the question comes up, who programmed the cognitive interpretive layer of the mecha? Because in my case, the answer is like 5 million years. And I'm wrong on the number, but millions of years regardless. We actually don't know the number very, very well. We keep pushing it back and being like, actually, life's way older than we thought. Actually, humans are way older than we thought. I don't know. I don't know. Millions of years, regardless, have generated that cognitive framework. Who programmed it into the mecha? I don't know, some dude a couple years ago who they're probably still using as legacy code, and nobody understands how it works, because he was a stupid genius, and also probably wrote his code in fucking totally incoherent bullshit script with no notes, because that's how super geniuses fucking write code, assholes. Nobody knows how these things work, probably. I wouldn't trust one at all. At all. Let me fly a core fighter. Those things have a windshield. You can see out. I'll fly a core fighter. Let the new types handle their newfangled bullshit and fly their mechas around and experience unreality that they flow through. Jesus H balls. Yeah. So just I think that's super cool. I think that's such a cool idea for how the mobile suits work, and it's exactly the sort of thing where you'd have a bunch of armchair theoreticians sitting around being like, yeah, totally cool. We'll remove all external to internal contact from the human inside the suit to the actual outside of the suit. That way it can be all channeled through the computer, and there'll be no direct contact at all, and you'll have no idea what you're actually controlling. That's the way to go. Sounds great. Makes everything way more efficient for us. Don't have to worry about glass expenses either to make bunches of fucking windows in our mobile suits. Makes them way more efficient and armored. Can't wait. And then the dude who's piloting it is like, all right, I trust my mobile suit. I'm gonna plow right through this not ass. Oh, maybe we should have it show what's on the outside. That would be important. You know, this is a real issue coming up as we, not necessarily for self-driving cars, but for vehicles that use screens instead of mirrors. I think it's a real issue. Reverse camera, backup cams, side mirror cameras, all of these things are cool and great technologically, but there's something really different about looking through a physical mirror or a physical aperture or physical window versus looking through a screen. There's this interpretive layer. One element is that there's a slight micromillisecond, very small delay. The other is that the field of view is different. And so it's much harder in some sense to interpret what's coming at you when it's on a camera and a screen than when it's on a mirror. And even mirrors are pretty fraught. That's why we have the objects in mirror maybe sorts of warnings on them. Any layer you put between your eyesight and what you're trying to perceive prevents perception, alters perception. And when you make that layer digital, literally convert an image to a digital flat plane and then translate that to a boxed in flat plane. Like, first off, camera lenses don't see things flat. They don't see the things the way that humans do. They see things in a condensed sort of space. All of these things have to be really carefully thought about, especially once the car starts beeping at you or driving itself or avoiding obstacles, and potentially doing so in a way that makes decisions happen. You'd better be damn certain that the first layer, the layer that sees what is there and interprets it, is correct. Because if it sees fire hydrant and it thinks child, that's a problem. And if it sees child and it thinks road debris, that's a problem. Its interpretation layer has to be really spot on. And there will always be edge cases. And so we're going to see those hit. I think we're already seeing the first lawsuits come out for the Tesla self-driving vehicles, and they'll just continue. It's actually this exact problem, and it is a fundamental and I think intractable problem of interpretive layering. You can't make the brain goop on the inside see reality, at least better than the way that our existing tech does. It's also going to be really interesting as we add more and more layers of bubbles, technological bubbles around ourselves. This is sort of exactly what's going on in the AR glasses space as well. Apple's AR goggles have no screen to the outside. They have no window. They have cameras that produce a pass-through effect. And so you've got to trust the cameras. And they've got to be correctly set up to actually mirror what would be your worldview. And I'm not certain, since I haven't put on one of those pairs of goggles yet, I'm not certain if they do. In fact, I'm almost certain that they can't. Because again, it's like an intractable problem. I don't think it's possible. But maybe we can get close enough that it's totally untouchable. You can't see the difference. And then comes the real question. If there's someone in control of a layer between your perceptions and reality outside, and they could theoretically insert or remove any element in your perceptions seamlessly without your notice, why wouldn't they? And what could they do with that technology? Imagine wearing a pair of AR goggles and you walk down the street, and a person who walks down the street is not there. You've blocked them. They functionally don't exist. You don't even see an outline of their presence. Totally possible. Totally possible. And the glasses might only warn you if you were to walk toward them. You were about to contact blah, 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 blah. Something like that. That's interesting. That's really weird. Reality starts to fuzz out a little bit when you think of things that way. And the same happens, really, every time one of these characters gets inside one of their mobile suits. And we have to remember that they enter a digital space, really. It might as well be a flight simulator in a lot of ways, except that they experience G-forces inside of it. But once they're inside the mobile suit, it's a totally digital, like non-analog, non-direct relationship between what's outside and what's inside. That fascinates me. Man, this is turning into a long pre-discussion, and I'm happy with it. Honestly, it feels like hitting a stride a little bit. We'll see how that continues, but feels good. Very cool stuff. VKT Radio Star writes a hella long comment, and I'm going to read it all out because it's gold. It's gold. It's gold. See, again, I get to exploit my audience. You guys just do the analysis for me. You guys do the analysis for me, and I get the money. It's perfect. No, this is so much fun because it gives me the ability to have multiple minds in some real sense. Because I've got one brain that interprets a thing one way. One of the joys of watching anime is that it's the production and the conveyance out of more brains, other people's minds. It's as close as we could get to that sort of radio communication, make you feel what I feel sort of thing. We could use words, they work pretty well, but pictures are worth 1,000 words, and moving pictures are worth a whole lot. So I like those better. But then we get to watch them all together, and I get to draw on the wealth of experience and knowledge and perspectives that you guys as audience members bring to bear. And it lets the whole thing be better, and we get better interpretation and better analysis of the thing overall for all of us. I love it. I love that I get to be a medium for it, or a pathway through which the analysis flows. It feels great. Okay, VKT Radio Star says, I'm glad you're giving Beecha some analysis, as most people tend to dismiss him the millisecond he starts having second thoughts about joining the Argama. Yeah, so easy, right? Oh, he's just a bad kid. This kid. He's an enemy. I think you knocked it out of the park, thank you, with his distrust toward adults and misplaced independence. It's also worth mentioning that no one in Judo's gang, save Lena and maybe Judo himself, seems to have any kind of general foresight into long-term consequences or survival. How about a week? Not even a week. I've always got the impression that these kids have just lived day to day for most of their lives, never having time to step back and look where their lives are heading. To them, life is making enough money to survive to the next day and not much more. Judo is the only one to have vocalized any ambition outside of get rich, and even then, that about sums up his plan to get Lena into whatever his idea of a prestigious school is, which he's probably never seen, probably has no idea about, has probably just heard of. It's like a dream. It's like Cyberpunk Edge Runner's Lucy to the Moon, right? No idea what that means. No idea what it means. It's just away from here. It's just different from here. It's just freedom, right? It's just elsewhere. Stuck. isolated, locked in, one worldview. No idea what's outside. Analogy? Related to what we were talking about before? I don't know. But I super agree. I super agree on a bunch of layers. I really do. Not only are they on this they're on mosquito time. This is a way to think about it. This is actually a great, I just made it up. This is a great way to think about this. People talk about like a poverty mindset, and I've been there, so I'll speak to it with some familiarity. It exists, it's real. When you are starving, or close to it, or afraid of it even, you're in a poverty mindset, and your concerns change dramatically. And it's not something that you're in control of, really. It's really serious. It's like horniness, or hunger, literally like hunger, or thirst, or some other need or craving, but it's even more than that. Those are things that you can often, like, understand. It's like being in a mood, even more pervasive like that than that. It's like being in a mode, equivalent to being depressed, where everything is slightly colored or shifted in a direction. In the case of that sort of mentality, everything is shifted in the direction of short-term and instant gratification. Saving doesn't make sense. Why would you save? You're not going to make it to the time when that would pay off. Holding or owning things that don't pay off immediately and don't turn into immediate needs like food don't make sense. You're willing to get rid of them. You'll sell something, you don't care. Doesn't matter. Long-term risks don't matter. The idea of, like, taking out a high interest personal loan that will be paid off in a month is infinity away. This will be hell for me in a month, doesn't matter because I get to eat today. All of these things just totally fall out of your perspective, and you end up working on mosquito time. Mosquitoes live for a few days, right? Moths live for hours to days. Same sort of idea, mosquito time. You've got this much time to get everything that you need to get done. And so you're in this, like, frantic rush to get it done. You're trying to get enough food, fuck, and have a place to go, and that's it, because you're about to die. And it's all about what can be done in the shortest period of possible time, because nothing else exists outside of that. Because it's right, evolutionarily, our ancestors survived this way. If you were starving, you need to get food now. It doesn't matter if you figure out agriculture, because you don't have food now. So you need to go now and do something now. And you dig up your fucking plants and eat them, right? Go out run all day, every day until you can catch something. It doesn't matter what you do it now. When you're locked into that, you can't see out of it. And that's exactly where Judo and the squad are. Their ideas of what wealth or stability might mean are totally nothing. In fact, there's something worse there, which is that everyone who they've seen who's actually made it to any sort of position of authority or power is distasteful to them. Severely. There are people in positions of authority, and they all suck. The first one that they've met who's even moderately okay is Bright, and he's still lying to them. From Beach's perspective, at least. He baited them in with tasty foods, and now it's not as good. Shit. Again. A trick. Again. So there's this tension there where it's like, I am a proud scum. I'm a proud sewer rat. I'm a proud gutter kid. And I won't be rich, but I want to be real bad. God, I'd really like to not be where I am right now. And what that Gemon guy has seems pretty great. But God, I fucking hate him and everyone who is in his social class and everything that they stand for. So simultaneously, I seek upward mobility and I hate the people above me. So it's like immediately cut off at the first step is I'd like to and deserve to be wealthier than I am. The wealthy are all monsters. Oh, okay. So you're aiming for a thing that you hate while also craving it? Oh, you got a confused worldview, kiddo. Yeah, you've got a confused worldview, kiddo. Get rich or die trying. And do it by exploiting others as much as you can. Steal the mobile suit, get gone, right? It's the same. You'll get this in inner city kids, too. I mean, you really will. They'll look at an opportunity, and they'll see the opportunity as its shortest term, highest gain possibility, even if it has much greater opportunities into the future. Okay, so hypothetically, imagine you get an inner city, low-income kid. Education doesn't look great, because in most of American cities, it's not. Family life doesn't look great. Family is probably destroyed. Many of them are. Job market doesn't exist. Most of your friends get their best jobs going in drug dealing or grouping up with some other squaddies. What are you going to do? Well, let's say in this hypothetical circumstance, this kid wanders into a parking lot and there's a car sitting there and it's got its keys in the ignition. Somebody would give it to them. They're not even stealing it. Somebody actively is like, here, kid, have a car. It's like it's a beater, but it's worth a little bit. Hypothetically, let's say they could drive that car away and it would be theirs. Sort of like a Gundam. Have a car. What do you think the chances are that that kid is going to keep that car and use it to, like, run a business or drive around or help their family or whatever? 0. They're going to sell it immediately because it's the quick and dirty, straight to the thing that you need. Ho-ho, I'm rich. I got $3,000 for this vehicle. And now I'm going to buy new clothes and chains and stuff and things and all short term. And food, yeah. But the idea of, like, oh, that's an investment, that's valuable in the long term, doesn't even come into play. And the same is true for our kids. Ooh, a mecha, something we could part out and sell. How cool. That's awesome, right? This is like, oh, look, a future. A whole future. Whoa. No. A mecha, that's worth a month, maybe. It's worth bajillions of space dollars, right? Worth immense amounts to both military contractors on multiple sides, but to the kids, it's worth a month of survival. It's worth parts. Fucking amazing. The Shangri-La kids joined a literal war with the promise of a salary and 3 free meals a day, but now that they've passed the point of no return, the honeymoon phase has evaporated right before their eyes. The high-quality meals they were given initially were just part of Bright's investment into judo, and now they're being ordered around by an adult who's practically a complete stranger to them. Bicha is neck-deep in unfamiliar waters, and he wants out, and I find that super relatable. It's totally natural to start having doubts about any new commitment. Bicha's just not the kind of person to sit on his hands about it. On the other side of the line, Bright really has had it rough these past several months. The organization he risked everything to join is effectively dead and gone. The man he put his faith in as a leader is presumed dead, along with each of the AUG's best pilots. Katz is dead, Camille is gone, and the best hope he and his crew have to stop the replacement of one tyrant with another is a gang of space rats who would like nothing better than to steal everything he has left and sell it right back to the enemy with interest. And a chicken landed on his head. The fact that he hasn't broken yet is a testament to his fortitude. Judo's normal suit is probably my favorite in the franchise, definitely my favorite in all of UC. The bright red markings are such a contrast to Camille's black and navy blue decals, and I think it displays some of the differences between the two pretty well. While Camille is more subdued and serious, Judo is bold, flashy, and loud, and a psychopath. It's my headcanon, and a psychopath. It's my headcanon that all of Mashimir's flashbacks are really just how he interprets his own internal monologue. It's humorous to me that these idealized versions of Haman might just be that Marshmallow literally won't take credit for his own thoughts without making them in her image. I don't know. Glemmy Toto. I knew there was something I was forgetting to prepare myself for these early episodes, but only realized it all too late. I look forward to your reactions to his future appearances. Look, that could have been a spoiler, but I knew that Glemmy Toto was coming back. Come on, I knew he was coming back. No chance. And finally, we'll leave off with one fun one. Settle Kukemre? Right? Camille with his first few kills. I don't want to kill, but I don't want to get killed either. Ah! Tension! Judo. Haha! I saw 3 flashes. That means they're dead. Yeah, amazing. Amazing. Just stunning. Okay, and I think with that, we will turn our attention to, finally, to the issue at hand, episode 10. Of ZZ Gundam. I don't remember if we got a title. We'll get one right at the beginning, so shouldn't matter too much. Let me make sure I've got disk space. I think we'll be good unless I end up talking for 2 hours. Let's go for ZZ Gundam episode 10. I said 9. It's 10. Episode 10. 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description. Timer on YouTube. Please comment. Very helpful. Beep beep timer. I wonder if at any point we get another OP. I kind of hope not. just because I love this one so much. But you never know. There might be something new in like 10 episodes. What? We're leaving Fa? Does she want to go be with Camille? That would be leaving one of our last original pilots. She has been having a tough time, so... yeah, won't be long. He'll be back. Ah, sadly staring out the window back at Shangri-La. Yeah, you were staying here for him, and now there are other people who can take over your duties a little bit if you want to throw them onto Lena. Hmm. Oh, he looks happy. Hey! She's gone, right? Hmm. A lot of faith in Livy and Rose. Hmm. Hmm. Thwack. Cute. Okay. Huh. You! Are you working or are you paying? New mobile suit. I'm doing it already. God. Hmm. Yes. Yes, she is adorable. Actually, literally true. We just we just talked about this in Macross. That's exactly true. We most respect the people that we think are extremely competent, but then they mess up sometimes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Rue. Never mind, she's snarky. Damn, you okay. You cross the line when you fuck with Fa. I know. That's why I love her. Oh god. Don't go fall in love with Glemmy Toad or whatever. Meaning fuck off is what that means, Bright. That's what she just said. Fuck off, old man. Shouldn't you worry about your own shit? God. Guys. Uh-huh. Bring a little trap. Okay, so we're still in this. Not fucking around. We are continuing this thing. You don't understand what you're doing, man. Nah. So? This isn't gonna matter. Holy shit, he's gonna tie up. Because you'll go tell people, dog. Yeah. You're too goody. So we're gonna go with round 2. See, they could have gotten away with it last time. They could have gotten away with it. I was clear about this. They absolutely could have gotten away with it, but twice? Oh, nothing to do with you. Yeah, say that when the ocean starts rising, motherfucker, and you can't afford gas. Oh wait, that's real world. Say that when Shangri-La explodes. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Of course you do. Who are you? I know that half of your head is red. Whoa! She's got wings. She's got moth wings? Feels like one of the evil characters in Berserk. Is she flirting with him? Wow. Don't touch my rose. It's sensitive. But I am carrying out her will. I gotten. How do you feel about this new presence? Who the fuck are you? Name? Position? The collaborator? Oh, that's the one on the ship. Will you really? Ah. Oh no! Elite Elise! Elite Elise, you're not in this show! Why is Elite Elise here? Kara soon? Like she'll have a character soon? No. Bitch. Yeah, it's her orders. Is she dirty? Is she sneaky? No, you are. Whoa. This is like this is like internal affairs. I feel like the SS just showed up. That's what happened. The Gestapo just showed up to investigate something internal. Holy shit. Layers. Different organizations and different political alliances within the same. Whoa. Yeah, they're missing. Goofing off, eh? No, he does not. He does not fuck around or lie. Wow, Fa! Chill. Old lady cranky pants. Shut up, Haro. Did she realize it? Of course you do, Lena. Yep. Yep. Let me know what's really going on. God, are they gonna be saved by the bell again? But of course, it's the bell that they brought on. Will the dummies work again? No. Oh, yeah. Because they're gonna lose. Fuck. Wait, what is he carrying an asteroid for? So Gotten is actually piloting with us. Oh my god, he is in an asteroid. I did not understand. What? You just said yes! That's how. You literally just volunteered and said yes. Yes, it can. Holy shit. Oh, guys. This is so bad. Which is worse, if they get caught or if they don't? Because they'll just do it again. Shoot the baba? No time to tell you. We're just gonna do this again? There's no time to tell you. Always there's a problem with the beam rifle. So what does that mean? Hasn't been plugged in? Like, isn't charged or isn't plugged into his suit? Yeah, immediately be careful! Oh my god! Who? Who? Oh, they're blowing up all the asteroids! This one ends up happening to help! Oh my god. Oh my god! The... Hey! Percussive maintenance. And again, we just get into the dense clusterfuck. It's gonna be such a clusterfuck for the next couple of minutes. Okay, so when it comes down to it, Fa wants to still... Oh my god. I believe in her, yeah. Better that than the alternative. But there goes the rock. What? What? What the fuck, Gotten? Super Agent Gotten, what? Ridiculous. Secret Agent Gotten, yatta! Wow. Crazy. Dude. Humma. Humma. shit. Fuck. Dude, he's straight up on board. I'll just prove myself. Is her angle. Oh, he immediately figures it out. Naraba, I'll kill ya! These shots have been awesome. A fair duel! Again! Not fair! Bro! What the... Oh my god, fall. Oh, so tense. You're in Camille's shoes, man. Yeah, and I've seen the way this plays out. Damn, she is so multi-traumatized. Poor Fa. Oh, goodness. Mashimura keeps getting more serious, too. Okay, Judo's gonna be armed soon. Oh, he's going direct. Okay. Wow. I love it. I love it. Dude, every angle on Mashimura throughout this... Whoa, that's familiar. Humma, humma, ×2! Okay, he broke out. Nice. Yeah, connect that power supply. VGA cable, motherboard cable. Passu, pass! Nice catchy! Not that kind of sayonara, Fa. A dastardly trick? Fingers crossed. So will this lead to her deciding that she's not cut out for this anymore? Or that she needs to go back with Camille? Hiya, ha, huh. We need Gotten versus Chi Matter. That's what we need. Fight of the ages. Ninja Chi Matter versus Super Spy Gotten. Yeah? Yeah. New Mecha. Is it Rue? Zap. No, I knew you'd be hot. It docks into a bigger plane mecha thing. Something. What is it? What is it? Hmm. Good? Time to go. Convenient. And Gon's still aboard. He is still aboard. Yes, we've succeeded partly, kind of. Sort of. Dude, he's gonna be found by a child. Oh my god, they're gonna catch him with a sheet. Oh my god, he has a gun! You guys, he has a gun! Oh, holy shit! Ooh! But what about Fa? So they're gonna pick her up? Whoa. No, it means more than that, y'all. Oh, wow, what a shot. I think so too, but I think you a bitch today. I think you a bitch today. Indeed. So then, how the turns have tabled. Wow. And he's gonna spit in their faces. He won't sell out his friends. And they're out there somewhere? Where are they? And Fa drifts off in the Methus, believing that they've got it. And she's pleased with this too. Wow. What an interesting way to get that separation to happen. And fate has made it happen, but she's genuinely happier to go back and be near Kamiyu. Wow. Some people don't want to step forward out into the unknown for right now. And she wasn't fitting with the vibe, fitting with the crew. What an interesting choice. And it ends up being on good terms in every way, despite tensions. Fascinating. What a weird episode. Again, that density feeling is hitting me where I'm like, cake. Seems like cake. Well, it was a cake. That was an episode. Sure, Gundam, it happened. Oh my god. The intricacy of interpersonal relationships is, like, really growing. It has this continuous, expansive network effect thing going on. It's kind of amazing. Kind of really amazing. Oh, wow, okay. Interesting. Don't know what the fuck that was. Don't even have any predictions for what the fuck that was. Don't have the cluest of clues for what that was. Whole lot happens in this episode. I'm really interested. We get just this little hint of a sneak peek preview of the mecha here. It's like the core fighter plus extra. Interesting. Ruruka has her own mecha, and she ends up being the first of our new squaddies to get one. And on the other side, Gotten has been captured. Ino knows the information, but Bicha and Mondo are out and he not been sold out yet. Fucking fascinating. Okay, not far from the colonies, which is a setup, surveillance, and we get our emotional setup right here, reminiscent to some extent of the Rakoa leaving episode, in some ways. Just that we've got this character who's got this internal struggle going on that she really has trouble expressing to anybody else. Some of them infer and interpret her correctly, and some of them don't. A lot of them just see her like, why is she being so bossy and mean right now? Which is what most people think when you start being bossy and mean. They don't think, what's going on with this person? There might be something really driving her out of herself, or like causing this attitude. Where should I take these box lunches? And she's off it and not quite there, and then we jump to and she is there and fine later. Bright looks much happier, but still a little bit at the edge. And Fa has this good mentality, but it falls apart immediately when she sees other people goofing off. And part of it is like, she sees, and she expresses it to Judo later, that there's this duty that's there that's not being fulfilled. That this is serious business. She comes from the era of the Zeta War. That was legit. This isn't fucking around game time. We don't have time for these kids to be flirting and fucking around and messing things up, and we don't have time for this. Stakes are serious. And so she's thinking in this very serious mode. Then there are weird things like she walks up and slaps Rue on the ass. It's just friendly and doesn't have any sort of implication to it at all, but it is there. It's very weird. And we get this as another tension. You aren't a good crewman. Who says I'm a crewman? Well, then pay for your meals. And there we are. What is my role here on this ship? Judah doesn't know. Isn't certain. And Rue is really really snarky, really hitting her with some bad juju. But she's right about this. A cool girl who screws up occasionally is adorable. Go back to Shangri-La. You should just stay with Camille. God, and it is pretty bitchy, but she is right, and it is what Fa actually wants. Pretty interesting. Takeoff is great. All the angles and shots of the characters here are awesome. When they take him down, we get this angle, or a little bit later, we get this angle. There's so much power and so much tension between these characters expressed in all of these. It's really cool because Ino, for example, is actually taller than either of these characters. He's one of the tallest of them, and yet we frame it so that he's down below them, crushed, or down underneath them with Mondo standing and looming above him, and Beach is standing and looming above him, because in his mind, Ino's like a little kid. He's like tiny. He holds himself that way, right? Super interesting. We'll have to see if he grows out of it and if we can change this as we move along, but it's such a cool demonstration of power dynamics between characters. You've got Mondo, who's really tiny, and yet he looms over this much taller, much more intimidating in many ways character. Fascinating. On the flip side, we introduce Kara Soon, whose name is Kara Soon? Like Kara or Chara or Char? Char in her name. I don't know. She has moth wings. That's what I immediately see. She's insane. Is she modeled after a particular, like, hair metal singer artist or something? I don't know. But she is nutty in her character design. And seemingly that the hair, like, changes colors. I don't know how it works. She's ultra flirty with Mashimir, but I don't get the impression that she's actually interested in him. I get the impression that she uses this in order to play with people and fuck with people. She goes right after the parts that make him the most uncomfortable, touching the rose, focusing on it, using her sexuality to make him uncomfortable. Lady Haman is the only woman for me. And he's all throughout this. It's really interesting. But then she touches the rose and he freaks out as though, this scene is remove the rose from the circumstance, right? What is it? It doesn't matter what it is, but she's touching him in an uncomfortable and sexual way, and he jumps back away from it. She touches his private part. It's just that his private part is not his pee-pee, it's his rose. Weird, but literally true. Do you think she'll keep you in her favor if you don't follow her will? Fine, I'll do whatever. Prepare a liaison, and he says that I'll do it. And I don't know why he makes that play here. He does this whole covering for a dumbass superior thing, but I feel like he's trying to up his own game. And she begins doing the same thing to him. Ready to die to carry out my duty, sir! And then that baits Mashimir into saying this as well, and she gets it on tape in order to then frame him so that he has to follow up on it to Lady Haman. And then is smart enough and intuitive enough to know that when he starts insulting her and being like, that was a low-down, dirty trick, she's like, yeah, but it was Haman's orders. So are you saying that she's low-down and dirty? Really intricate plays from Kara Soon. Mashimir's like putty compared to this woman. She's like so dangerous. She's deadly compared to him. He's like a goofy golden retriever puppy who happens to be able to fly a mecha. She's like a monster. And she indicates it to us. She's like, flying mobile suits makes me tired. I get other people to do the dirty work for me. Damn. This a military industrial complex contractor if I ever done seen one. Hell, I've seen actually a couple of this woman get up and give MIC sort of speeches. They're like, yes, our rate of return on the war that's going on is going great. It's going super good. And we've invested in all these new technologies and the returns are great. It's like, but hands off, no dirt. Yeah. Wears me out. Hope it works. Okay. Folding laundry and laundry stuff is rough and fun. The circumstance and the situation tell me what you're doing, and we get saved by the bell again. Hey, we should probably get rid of those asteroids. Yes. And suddenly we're in it. Of all the things that could possibly go wrong, from belts and backpacks to battle rifles and beams not being plugged in or charged, it's like, ugh. Everything's fucked. And because everything is fucked and everything is tense and everything is weird, I love this shot. And he's like taking off, ballet, dancing on the thing, like everything's fucked. We're a clusterfuck is what we are. And Fa in the middle of it is like running around with like a chicken with her head cut off, trying to figure things out. It's crazy. I like the dark views of the Gaza Seas. They're kind of cool, less like shiny and brilliant. I really like this shot of the trigger. I really love the shadows on it. It's just gorgeous looking. Maybe it's the same animator as the Zeta OP, you know, where all the crystally bits sort of fold in and all are shiny. Maybe it's like that. I don't know. But we get into it, and man, it's a rough battle all the way through. Some of the angles and sequences are fucking awesome, like that. And then I think once we get all of the Mashimir cuts, all the Mashimir cuts of faces are amazing. Super Spy Gotten, yes. Versus Secret Ninja Chimater. It's what I want to see. I really liked this shot as well. The slow-mo of the thing falling apart, the actual angle of the gun. This is like studied and practiced by like a gun otaku type who really wanted to draw this shot, and it looks great. I love all these moving pieces as she sees the thing going on. It's like, hey, wait, what's that? And she's off doing this one thing, and they're off doing this other thing. And all these things play at the same time. It's like a Rube Goldberg device going, and it just has this fascinating quality of many things occurring at once, of simultaneity, that I think is really cool. Off and after him he goes, just blowing the fuck out of some Gaza Seas, seriously. And again, doing the like, hey, this is so fun, woo, death. Amazing. Hama is here. And it's here where we start to get all these Mashimir shots, and I think they're really cool. I don't know what it is, but these shots of Mashimir have more something to them. They've got that emotional quality and that like crispness to his line art that impresses me dramatically. This moment where he realizes that he doesn't have a beam saber, it's not working, and we flow this whole scene around so that he does the full turn. We don't cut to it. Right? It gives us the full transition of his emotional state. He goes from here to like, and brings that whole thing in and through the frame. That's super impactful. I really, really like it. And if we can maintain this level of internal shots, it's going to make the battles feel really alive. It already does. Zeta was really good with this in a lot of the cut-ins for battle sequences, but this does even better for me. As his mech turns around to go, he turns around toward camera and goes, right? And so we get that feeling of like, it's all as one. It's all as one. It's all one set of movements. And same here. The crispness of all the little tendrils of his hair, the whip as he turns around, the speed of it, and literally creates speed lines across him as he turns. This is cool. This is cool. These facial expressions tell the whole story really well. And they don't stop. They don't stop. They're all throughout on all of Mashimir's stuff, and they're really cool, and I want more of that, a lot more of it. It happens all throughout here with Fa and Camille and Judo as well. They're hyper expressive, and it's got that same stylistic tendency. So I think it's the same AD or correction or something, or character designer, whatever. Something similar is going on. Someone had the same input on these things. Hops in the mecha and zips off to engage in order to prevent Fa from getting hit while she takes the time. This moment is such a zoom. Bam! And we're back and forth, blasting through, and I love this too. Okay, I gotta jump in here as editing Teeaboo and say that while past Teeaboo is doing the thing pretty good, just going through this again, it's stunning to me how amazingly high quality this piece of this episode is. From the point where Mashimir arrives and we're doing the multi-piece thing and other stuff is going on and all of this is going on in the background, everything here looks amazing. The Hama is so detailed. Mashimir is so dramatic and tense. All of the characters and zaps and zooms are so crispy and beautiful. This has got to be like the full studio thing. I was not B-Train. It was the other one. I forget which one it is. Somebody told me what this is and what group it is. It's got to be that. I don't know. It's a team of talented people. I was saying just one AD or something, and it's not. It's no way. This is a team of talented people working on this episode in particular, and a couple of the ones that we've had before, but it really shines here. And I'm stunned when we get beyond this one particular point. We can see the actual, like, the crispness of everything as these characters move a little bit. It's amazing looking. The depth of shadow that we've got looks like everything's in HDR, and the detail of backgrounds feels like so high quality, and the characters shine so perfectly. Everything is iconic and amazing and really crystal clear in the way that it looks. I think it's awesome. And it's just really improved me on second viewing. Sorry, my AC turned on. Here, I'm done. Through, and I love this, too. It's the reverse transition. So often we get the character inside does the thing, we pull out to the mech, and the mech is doing the thing. Mech does the thing, pull into the character doing the thing when it's a more isolated, a more constrained movement. Really cool. Brings us in, ding, ha. By the rose on my chest, I shall defeat you. And then we pull it back out. Prepare yourself. And we do the exact same thing. We cut out to this, and it's in the same flow of motion. So we've got this ability to transition inside and outside of the mech and keep them linked character-wise. So it's like, I see the Hama Hama, that's Mashimir and the Hama Hama. I see Mashimir, that's the Hama Hama and Mashimir. And I can move through that space, in and out of it, almost at will. It gives me the feeling that I can. And so we get that idea that the inside and the outside are one, which is totally separate from what's actually happening and what we talked about at the beginning, which is that they're completely separated from each other and it's all screens. But we as viewers don't feel that. Super cool. Same thing, great cut-ins from Judo. Really awesome new tactics here, and just goofy joy. The fact that we can take the characters into this more cartoonish aspect, honestly, it's done a lot in the last 2 episodes for joyous expressions for characters being really scary. Judo is like, haha, they're dead. Mashimir is like, haha, I've got you. It's like the predator with their prey, like, yes. It's violent and cruel and vicious and happy and pleased and like, I'm doing the right thing here. This is justice. And that's awesome. That's awesome. And it all comes through in the goofiness of it. I like it. I like it a lot. I have you now. All right, the beam sword is go, or the beam saber, beam blade, beam, I keep saying swords. Beam rifle is go, and finally he can use it. Fa takes this big hit, and it is super impactful, careening her off into space and causing Judo to freak the fuck out, classic style. Breaking the battle up, but then splitting us up in a number of ways, and leading to a need to protect the Argama. Can't rescue Fa. Blah, blah. All of this is like, yeah, you probably could have, but narratively it works better this way. And so narratively it works better this way. Incoming from Ruruka, without being able to see the mecha itself, she's going to be a powerful member of our squad now, and potentially a new type. So we lose main girl from last season, and replace her with main girl from this season, and Sister Lena. So we sort of split the Fa role. And we have romantic interest character who's a pilot, and we have domestic character who is working on board ship, and the twain shall not meet is sort of what we've gotten here in some real sense. The dynamic, independent, focused, beautiful girl is now Rue, and she is a competent and competitive pilot who's continuously nudging elbows with Judo in a like, no, let me go first sort of way, not in a I'll support you sort of way. And instead we get that support role filled with his little sister, who fits the support role much better because she comes with a built-in protect, right? A built-in protect and a built-in, no, Lena, I don't want you going out there and getting yourself hurt. Stay here. And she likes it too. And she likes the domestic tasks, too. She's like, I like laundry. She's always happy bringing the meals around. So it seems like what we've done is we've done this, like, echo of the Rakoa and Fa thing, maybe, or something like it, where we're once again setting up our female cast. And in this case, we've separated out the contradictory traits, as Tomino might see them, that prevented Fa from being content throughout Zeta. Because throughout Zeta, prevented all the women in Zeta from being content. Throughout Zeta, all the women have this huge tension. And the tension is between following a woman's heart, as Rakoa would put it, right? And the thrill-seeking sort of thing, and the being a pilot and part of the military sort of thing, and they're all mixed up, and the characters struggle with the confusion between all these elements. Now we've separated them into separate characters. We've got Rue, who, if you didn't actually present her as female, could read as a masculine archetypal character. She's competitive with judo. She acts as his physical foil and pilot and all these things, is literally competing to be the one who gets the station open or the dock open earlier, right? And then we split out the other parts into Lena. Fascinating. A totally different set of female characters and a totally different set of arguments about their nature. It seems like we might be accepting a character like Rue as a pilot when previously we wouldn't accept Emma Sheen or even Rakoa, and they always had this flubbiness, this problem aspect to their piloting. Emma Sheen dies for it. Rakoa goes off her deep end for it. Fa gets broken a number of times by it and loses the guy that she cares about, and eventually now chooses not to be in it anymore. Super interesting, and wasn't really ever cut out for it to begin with. Again, we get that moment where Bright is like, she can do it, I believe in her, and that's right and great and supportive, but Fa also fails way more than most of the pilots. And we have to go after her and help her way more than most of the pilots, and go save her ass way more than most of the pilots, and everybody knows it. It's like, it's not just a sexism, it's a practical, obvious, straightforward reality based in a sexism in the writing. But that's shifted now. We're in a different era, and we've got different pilots, and Rue is one of them, and I'm really interested. And this has been a really long recording, and I'm getting tired, so I'm going to wrap it up here as we move once more, again, toward Levy and Rose. Collaborators aboard, but gotten too. And we'll have to see if we get any information out of him. Probably not. Things keep getting spicier in Zeta Zeta Double Zeta Gundam. I hope you've been enjoying the spice, enjoying the heat. I certainly have. This was a blast. And a weird one. And cool. And I'm excited to see more of that new mecha come next episode. So, that's what we'll look forward to, and I'll see you there for the next one. Catch it a little bit early on Patreon, or I'll see you next week on the YouTube. Either way, much love. Peace.